Good morning, students. We come to the last module of your chapter demand, the last topics. And with this video, I am sending you the complete notes for the chapter demand. You need to write that in your economics notebook, as well as that notes will help you in preparing your summer project on chapter demand. Okay, now in the last video we had covered all these topics: movement along the same demand curve, shift in the demand curve, expansion of demand, and contraction of demand. Now some topics are left which we will be covering in this last video. Okay, now the first difference or the first topic for today is the difference between increase in demand and decrease in demand. Now the difference also covers the meaning. Now increase in demand and decrease in demand both are the types of shift in demand curve. Increase in demand and decrease in demand both are the types of shift of demand curve. Now why does shift happens? Shift of the demand curve happens due to the reason of change in other factors. Okay, now increase in demand. Quantity demanded increases due to change in other factors, and in decrease in demand, quantity demanded decreases due to change in other factors affecting demand. Okay, now increase in demand and decrease in demand both happens due to change in other factors, but in increase the quantity demanded increases, and in decrease in demand the quantity demanded decreases. Okay, there's a rightward shift of the entire demand curve in increase in demand, and there is a leftward shift of the entire demand curve in decrease in demand. Now, what are the reasons for increase in demand? As I told you earlier also, suppose we take the example of taste and preferences of consumer. Okay, if some taste and preferences, some social custom is in favor of the consumer, okay, in that case the demand will increase. And if some social custom or some habit has vanished, in that case the demand for that commodity will decrease. Okay, same way for a normal good, when the income of the consumer increases, the demand will increase. This is not because of price but because of income of the consumer. Same way, if for a normal good the consumer income decreases, the demand will decrease, and that will be the case of decrease in demand. Now, second point, you have seen rightward shift and leftward shift in decrease in demand. We will be discussing this in the diagram now. See, this is the diagram for increase in demand. This is the diagram for decrease in demand. As I told you earlier also in the topic shift of demand curve, price will remain the same. The price of the commodity will remain the same. This is the initial demand curve DD. This is the new demand curve D1 D1, and there is a shift from position A to position B. You can see this. At the initial quantity is Q, the new quantity is Q1. Wherever you are shifting the curve from DD to D1 D1, accordingly your positions will shift, and this will become Q to Q1. This will become Q to Q1. Same way in decrease in demand, you can see at the same price, the price remains the same. This is the initial demand curve DD, and this is the quantity. The initial demand curve DD, and this is the quantity Q. When the demand decreases due to some other factor, okay, suppose I gave the example of income, I gave the example of taste and preferences. The taste and preferences are not in the favor, social custom has stopped. So in that case the demand for such commodity will decrease. So see, this is the demand curve DDDD, and there will be a leftward shift this side. This is your new demand curve D1 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 D1, and this will become your quantity Q1. Okay, this is 1 over here. I have quantity demanded, price has to be written. This is Q1 over here. Now A to B, the demand curve shifts, and there is a leftward shift in the demand curve. Okay, now the next topic is the difference between expansion of demand and increase in demand. Now let me tell you what is the basic difference between the two. This is a concept of movement and this is a concept of shift. Expansion of demand is a concept of movement and increase in demand is a concept of shift. With this, diagrams have to be made. In your notes, the diagrams are there. But now I am not going to explain because I have already explained it again and again. Okay, this is expansion of demand, this is increase in demand. Expansion of demand happens due to fall in price and increase in demand happens due to change in other factors. Expansion happens due to fall in price and increase happens due to change in other factors. In both the cases, demand will increase, but the reasons are different. It occurs due to fall in own price of the commodity, okay, and it occurs due to change in other factors affecting demand. This is because of fall in own price and this is because of change in other factors. Now in expansion there is a downward movement. I told you this is a concept of movement, this is the concept of shift. So there is a downward movement along the same demand curve in expansion and there is a rightward shift of the entire demand curve in increase in demand. Now you can see the diagrams. There is a downward movement. You can see the demand curve remains the same. DD. Demand curve remains the same. When the price falls, quantity increases. When the price falls, quantity increases. So there is a shift. There is a movement from position A to position B, showing downward movement. And increase in demand. Again, I am repeating, at the same price, there is a shift from DD to D1, D1. There is a shift from DD to D1, D1. Now the last topic, we come to the last topic, that is contraction of demand and decrease in demand. Again, both are the concept of movement and shift. Contraction is a concept of movement along the same demand curve and decrease in demand is a concept of shift in demand curve. In both the cases, definitely the demand decreases. Again, in both the cases, definitely the demand decreases, but the reasons are different. This happens due to rise in price and this happens due to change in other factors. Okay, you can see contraction of demand occurs due to rise in own price of the commodity and decrease in demand happens due to change in other factors affecting demand. Contraction and decrease, in both the cases, demand is decreasing but the reasons are different. This is a concept of movement. This is a concept of shift. Upward movement along the same demand curve. In contraction of demand, there is an upward movement along the same demand curve. And in decrease in demand, there is a leftward shift of the entire demand curve. Okay. In decrease in demand, what happens? There is a leftward shift of the entire demand curve. Now, we come to the last diagram. Again, I am repeating. When the price increases, the demand falls. Again, when the price increases from P to P1, the demand falls. The way to make the diagram is first make DD, right? First make DD, follow the route. I told you again and again, first you make XY price quantity demanded, you make DD first. Once you make the DD demand curve, then you follow the route. P के साथ Q, P1 के साथ Q1. Okay, so when the price increases, the demand falls and there is an upward movement from A to B. Because of rise in price, the quantity demanded increases. I'm really sorry. Because of the rise in price, the quantity demanded decreases. So there is an upward movement from position A to position B. And in decrease in demand, the price remains the same. In decrease in demand, the price remains the same. But the demand curve shift from DD to D1, D1. The demand curve shift from DD to D1, D1 shown by a leftward shift. A to position B. Q, Q1, Q, Q1. Okay, there is a leftward shift from position A to position B, showing decrease in demand. I hope so the concepts are clear. Now your work is that you will please copy the notes that I am giving for the demand chapter. It will help you in studying the chapter, knowing it in details, as well as it will help you with the summer project. Thank you so much, students.